Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tom over at TFC IV MMA. Hope everybody's week has gone great so far. It's pay-per-view fight week. We're back, second card of the year. The UFC makes its long-awaited return to Australia, and I think we're all excited for this one. We got the pound-for-pound number one fighter in the world, Alexander Volkanovski, going up against the pound-for-pound number two, Islam Makhachev, for lightweight gold. Volt goes for history with double champ status, and Islam hopes to retain his belt. They won back in October against Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Going to be an awesome card, guys. Obviously, not as good as it was projected to be because there were a lot of canceled fights on this one. We lost Costa Whitaker. We lost Perez versus Cara France. So we lost some great fights, but still some great fights on the card, guys. So I look forward to breaking it down with you, and I hope you guys are as excited for this card as I am because it's pretty good. As we start off the early prelims, we have a pretty one-sided fight when it comes to the odds. You have Zabira Tukov, who a training partner of Khabib Nurmagomedov, of Islam Makhachev, part of that whole camp there, going up against Elvis Brenner, making his UFC debut, and quite the opponent to have to go against in your debut. Obviously, Tukov's a great fighter, plenty of tools there, phenomenal grappling, decent striking. So this is a tough test for Brenner, and the odds show that. Tukov's coming in about a minus 600, with Brenner coming in about a plus 425, and I got to go with the favorite on this one. That's a great camp they come out of. As much as I may not be a huge fan of the Dagestanis, you can't not respect them. Very good at what they do, and a lot of great fighters out of those camps. So, got to go with the favorite there. So we're going Tukov by finish in that one. As we go to the next one, we have another fighter making his debut. Blake Bilder, win on the Contender Series, now making his official UFC debut. Comes in as a slight underdog at plus 115, plus 115, versus Shane Young, who's coming in about a minus 140. Obviously, Shane Young from New Zealand, so not quite a homecoming, but about as close as you can get right now for him. And he comes in as the slight favorite, like I said. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Obviously, featherweight bout. Gonna be excited to see what Builder does in the real show. Had an impressive win on the Contender Series, and I think I'm gonna take him there at dog money at plus 115. So good value there, especially because he looked very good on the Contender Series. As we go to the next one, we head to the women's strawweight division. Loma Lukbumi versus Elise Reed. Loma's coming in about a plus or minus 280. Sorry there, guys. And Reed's coming in about a plus 235. Got to go with the favorite there on that one. So we are going with Loma, especially on those kind of odds. Then, as we go to the next, another Contender Series guy making his UFC debut. But this time it's Jack Jenkins, and he's coming in as a heavy favorite versus Don Shanice. Jenkins coming in about a minus 290 or so, with Shanice coming in about a plus 230. You got the Aussie going against the American, and I'm going to take Jack Jenkins. I believe Jenkins was the guy who talked about on the Contender Series. He had some random guy DM him on Instagram and said, hey, this guy cuts here very easily. Look for this spot. And he said he kind of remembered it through the fight and got the win because of it. He hit that spot. The guy opened up. He got the TKO stoppage. I believe that was Jack Jenkins. So pretty cool story there. And I'm excited to see him get the win, hopefully, in front of his home crowd. It's really tough to kind of root against the Aussies in their home crowd here. Same way I went with a lot of Brazilians for the last card at 283. I'm going with a lot of Aussies on this card. And you got to root for those guys when they're fighting in their hometown in front of their fans, especially a card like this. You got Volkanovski making his big return to Australia for the title fight. So I'm really excited. The crowd should be electric in this fight, and it should be good. It should be very good. That caps it off for the early prelims. So after that, we go to the main prelims there. We got Jamie Malarkey versus Francisco Prado. Malarkey's coming in about minus 285. Prado's a guy making his debut here. I believe Malarkey did have an opponent pull out, and that's why Prado's filling in, and that's why the odds are what they are. Malarkey coming in about a minus 285, with Prado coming in about a plus 225. And I got to go with Malarkey here. Malarkey's got some good wins in the UFC. I'll always remember Jamie Malarkey for, of course, he kind of robbed Michael Johnson. A lot of us think Michael Johnson won that fight. But it was the Nagano Stipe 2 card, and I had a full card parlay that hit every leg except Jamie Malarkey, knocked out Kama Worthy, messed up my whole parlay. So as much as I think Jamie Malarkey will win this fight, I always got to hold it against him just because that was a big payday on a small bet I was really looking forward to. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not picking against him this time. That he's a favorite at 285, and I am going to be all over it. So there we go. Jamie Malarkey inside the distance, in my opinion. As we go, another guy making his UFC debut off the Contender Series, Shannon Ross versus Clayton Rodriguez. The only weird part here with Ross is he lost on the Contender Series. Usually when a guy loses on DWCS, you don't see him in the UFC right after. But he's going up against Clayton Rodriguez. Rodriguez coming in about a minus 335. Big favorite here in the flyweight bout. And I am jumping all over that. Very good parlay piece there at minus 335. I see him getting the win. So excited for that one. Should be a dominant performance by Rodriguez. As we go to the next one, we have Josh Kulabau versus Melsic. I'm not even going to pronounce the last name because I'm going to botch it. Not going to do that. This is one of the closest odds fights on the card. Both guys at minus 110, with both guys showing some good fights in the UFC. Kulabau obviously coming off a split decision win against Sung Do Choi and had that draw against Charles Jourdain not too long ago, and Melsic coming off some good performances as well. And got to go Kulabau in this. I told you I'm picking a lot of the hometown guys here. So I think for him to get done in front of his home crowd, I hope he does it. And I look forward to hopefully seeing it. And as we go to the main event of the prelims, we got Tyson Pedro. He's went through a couple opponents here, but now it is Modestas Bukauskas making his return to the UFC after some impressive performances in Cage Warriors. It was tough the way he went out. That oblique kick by Khalil Roundtree. It's legal. I have no issues with it, but that doesn't mean it's easy to watch. And we saw that when Khalil Roundtree basically blew Bukauskas' knee out with that kick. And he's coming in as a hefty, not quite too hefty underdog, but about a 2-1 underdog here, coming in about plus 210, with Tyson Pedro coming in about a minus 250. For the odds, I think it's worth sprinkling some money on Modestas Bukauskas. And that's going to be my pick there. A little controversial. I know I said I was picking a lot of the Aussies, but Tyson Pedro has shown in the past some issues with cardio and such. We saw that in the Shogun fight. So I am going to go Bukauskas here, coming off two impressive performances in Cage Warriors. I think he gets it done. So excited to see that one. And now we kick it into the main card and got some good fights on this card. Like I said, kind of bummed that some of them fell off because I feel like it was two of the better fights on the card did fall off. But hey, it is what it is. Start off, Jimmy Crute making his return to the octagon. Did not fight last year, and obviously December of 2021 got knocked out bad by Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. That loss has aged very well, though, with Jamal Hill going on in just over a year's time to be the light heavyweight champion of the world. Alonzo Medfield coming off some. He's a finisher, guys. I think Crute holds a lot of the advantages in this fight with the grappling and such, but Medfield has that power. He's a big guy, and he's very powerful. Whether it's first round knockout, first round submission, if Medfield's going to win this fight, it's going to be in the first round, in my opinion. And I'm picking him to do that. I think at plus 195, you kind of got to go with him on those odds. I'll definitely be tossing in a couple bets, especially hammering that first round knockout. In my opinion, that's how I see it going. And so we're taking another dog here. Alonzo Medfield at plus 195. Got to jump all over it. I know, going a lot of underdogs here, so not quite like me. I usually like to keep it safe, keep it conservative, go with the favorites, but we're going with Medfield here. Then we got the heavyweight bout, Justin Tafa, Parker Porter. Parker Porter was on a nice little run there, wins over guys like Parisian, Chase Sherman, and then ran into the freight train that is Jailton Almeida. So we know how that went. That's not not many people in the heavyweight division are going to have what it takes to even compete with Jailton Almeida, and Parker Porter, of course, did not. Justin Tafa, he's a puncher. He has some power, and he's looking to be in phenomenal shape for this camp. I saw someone call him a Dollar General Tai Tuivasa, and where that's a little harsh, it's somewhat true. A lot of power, but not quite the best. And he's shown in the past he does not do well when he's put on his back. So I'm not excited, but interested to see if Parker Porter can put him there, put him on his back, and get the job done. He's about plus 120 with Tafa coming in about plus or minus 140-ish. So Screw it. I'm going Parker Porter here. I think he does have the grappling advantage. I think he gets it down, wins by decision. So it should be good. Excited to see it. Sorry, guys, really congested, so I've got to keep pounding the water. Hopefully, get over this cold here soon enough. As we go in to the feature fight on the card, Randy Rude Boy Brown versus Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena has come into the UFC and took it over by storm. That's why in only a couple fights he's fighting a guy like Randy Brown. Jack has some of the most crisp boxing we'll see. But he is a little undersized for 170, whereas a guy like Randy Brown, very tall, very lanky, about 6'3", if I remember correctly, and Jack is only about 5'10". So interested to see how this one goes. I think Randy has an issue with he gets very complacent, where he kind of just goes into cruise control and doesn't kind of look for the finish as much. Obviously, he has good jiu-jitsu off his back, but I think he just gets complacent on the feet. We saw in his last fight out, I believe it was Trinaldo is who it was against, and at certain points he just kind of cruised, and it allowed Trinaldo to get back into the fight and make that a close fight that some people thought Trinaldo won. So Jack's coming in about a minus 305, Rude Boy's coming in about a plus 255-ish or so, and I got to go with the Aussie in Perth. He trains in Perth. He's grown up in Perth. I think he gets the win in Perth. We're going Jack Della Maddalena by finish in this one. Really, really excited for it. So, great feature bout there for the card. And now we get into the two title fights. We got interim featherweight gold on the line. We got undisputed lightweight gold on the line, guys. And we'll start off with the featherweight bout. Yair Rodriguez, Josh Emmett. Yair's coming in about a minus 165, with Emmett coming in about a plus 140, and I am real excited for this one, guys. I think Josh Emmett gets a lot of hate. Did he have a very close fight with Calvin Kattar that a lot of people thought Calvin Kattar won? Yes. Does that make him undeserving to be here? No. I'd argue out of the two, Josh Emmett has more of a case to be here. Yair has one legitimate win. He beat Ortega, yes. Ortega got hurt very early in the fight, though. So it's tough to call that a legitimate win. If you take that out of the equation, Yair hasn't won a fight since late 2019, over 3 years ago, and it was against Jeremy Stevens by decision. So it's tough to say Yair belongs here just because he had a close fight with Max Holloway that Max clearly won, and then Brian Ortega gets injured within the first couple minutes of the fight. So kind of tough there. That was a good card there. I believe that was Long Island, and that was very good. But I don't really think Yair is really deserving to be here. In my opinion, it should be Arnold Allen. But it is what it is. We got a great fight here, guys. Josh Emmett is that team alpha male. Good wrestling, and pop in those hands. He was a primary training partner of Chad Mendes for a long time, and there's a lot of similarities in the guys. I don't know if I'd put Josh Emmett quite as high as I would a prime Chad Mendes, but I think Josh has a lot of tools, and he's shown that he's been losing fights against guys like Michael Johnson, and he has that power where he can put him out and finish the fight. Yair Rodriguez, one of the most crafty strikers in the UFC today. A lot of spin kicks, a lot of cartwheel attacks, just very unorthodox stuff. But he's very smooth with it, and he combines it very well. But we have seen in Yair's career as well. Go watch the Frankie Edgar fight. If you can get him down, you can do a lot of damage. He does not like being on his back. And I could see Emmett using that route. He trains with a lot of great wrestlers at Alpha Male. We all remember Alpha Male's primarily a wrestler's camp. They have had guys like Cody Garbrandt, who's a great striker, and TJ Dillashaw developed the striking, but TJ's wrestling was also very good as well. But the head guys of that camp, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendes, great wrestlers. And I think Emmett goes to those roots here in this fight. He's been training at Team Alpha Male for, I think, since 2007 or 2008. And I think he uses the wrestling heavily. And I'm picking Josh Emmett to get the win, whether by decision or late round TKO. But I'm really excited either way, guys. So really looking forward to that one. Should be a good one. I'd love to see Emmett just land one of those hooks and put Yair out. As much as I respect Yair, Josh Emmett's a fun fighter to watch. And when he hits people, they go to sleep. So I hope to see a real highlight reel in that fight. Even if it's Yair getting a big crazy spin kick or something, I just want a great fight. But my official pick is Josh Emmett. So after all that, interim featherweight gold. Tom, why is there an interim title? Because the champ, Alexander Volkanovski, is going up to 155 in this main event, going up against Islam Makhachev, giving up a lot of size to go for champ status. And call me crazy. If he pulls this off and beats Islam Makhachev, you can't call him the GOAT, but he's top 5 without a doubt at that point. And I think he could do it. The odds are heavily against him. Volk's coming in about a plus 300, with Islam coming in about a minus 410 or so. So a lot of people think the physicality, the wrestling of Islam is going to be too much. And it's hard to say it won't be because the size advantage is very clear. I know they're going to both weigh in at 155, but Islam's much taller. He's much bigger. We saw that when they faced off. Volk makes 145 without too much complaint, and Islam kind of has a tough time getting down to 55 sometimes. So big size difference, big grappling difference, but big on the feet difference in Volk's favor. And if Volk can keep this standing, I know a lot of people like to mention the rugby days. I find it kind of tough to bring that in here because that was so long ago and he's physically changed so much since then. But hey, it could play into factor here. Volk was obviously a 215-pound rugby player. But I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. But for the odds, I gotta take Volkanovski at plus 300. Very rarely do you get arguably the greatest featherweight of all time at those kind of odds. So, do I think Islam could go out there, totally steamroll him, take him down, TKO him, choke him out? Yes, I do. I could see that happening without a doubt. Do I think Volk can stuff some of the takedowns and drag Islam into deep water and possibly get a decision win, though? Yes, I see that happening too. And this may be a very biased pick because I'm not a huge fan of Islam, but lock it in. We're taking Alexander Volkanovski at plus 300. So, real excited for this card, guys. I'll definitely be watching. Can we just say how blessed we are as UFC fans right now? We got the pound for pound number 1 going up against the pound for pound number 2 in this pay per view. Next pay-per-view, we got the return of the GOAT, Johnny Bones versus Cyril Gane. After that, we got Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman 3. Can Usman collect himself after the knockout and get the win? And can Leon hold on to the high and go out there and get a dominant performance this time around instead of pulling off the Hail Mary? And then after that, we go to South Beach. We got Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 4. Poatan's up 3-0. And can he get it done the fourth time? I tend to believe so. And I think Alex made a lot of mistakes in the last fight, still pulled it off. So I see Poatan getting it done in dominant fashion here. But that's just a quick teaser of the fight cards we have ahead. A lot of awesome fights. 2023 is a hell of a time to be an MMA fan. And I can't wait to interact with you guys throughout the whole year. Hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights. And I'll be back Sunday to break them all down with you.